Bow wow.
Welcome to DogStar.
Each week we sit down with a star of hip hop and R&B, and this week we have Peace the Keeper.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
How you feeling? Thanks for coming back to the state.
Yeah. No, I love. This is home. You know what I mean? This is home. This is where I want to be.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming, and we're really, really excited to kind of get a peek behind the curtain.
Yeah. I mean.
There you go. Yeah.
No, I'm happy to be here, man. As I keep saying, that you guys are so dope to me, so I'm happy to be a part of it.
That means a lot.
Finally meet you and talk to you and get to know you guys. I know some of the scene a little bit just from my time out here and when I was trying to kick things off, but it doesn't feel like we have ever crossed paths. So like,
oddly enough, no. Other than seeing a performance or two, kind of anonymously in the crowd. But again, as fans, let's hop in the time machine.
Let's start it all the way at the beginning of the journey. So you're born in Minnesota.
Yeah, born and raised.
Okay,
Minneapolis.
And
100%.
Did you have musical family members? Who was playing records when you were growing up?
Really, my mom put me onto the music that I listen to now. Like my mom always kept CDs in the car. We had the Michael Jackson Essential CD like in rotation.
Oh yeah.
She a predominantly black community, so hip hop and funk and soul and R&B was all we ever listened to. And then outside of that, my uncles actually put me onto like metal music, rock music. Like I started getting into pretty heavy stuff for a while, and some stuff that maybe not be so heavy now, but at the time you're like, yo, this is like Korn. I love Korn.
Right.
So like, there's much more that like I feel like is coming out now that pushes a little bit more of the boundaries, just because things are bleeding together and censorship is not so regulated anymore with the internet.
No.
But like Korn we were like, yo, this is scary music.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You know what I mean?
Unlike anything you've been exposed to.
So my uncles tapped me out of rap and hip hop, and then I was like, oh, there's more than just like there's more than just this kind of music. You can listen to anything. And my grandma loves country music, so Tim McGraw was everywhere. Shania Twain was it.
Now, was your grandma, uncles, or mother, were they musical at all? Did they sing?
Not musical at all.
Okay.
No, not at least as far as I know. I don't recall there being an instrument.
Maybe they hit it well, or when you were born, I'm giving up the guitar.
Yeah, I don't know. We sang like little tunes, little jingles, but that's just because we like music and they, earworms, they get stuck in your head.
Yeah,
but like, nobody was like musically inclined. My brother played the recorder and the drum for a little bit, and I played the snare drum a little bit after him.
Okay.
That was really it.
I mean, let's go to the snare drum here. How old were you? Was this like band in school?
Yeah, this was a school
church?
band. This was I want to say 5th grade.
Whoa.
5th grade, and right around that same time, because I started on the triangle.
Oh, so they're like picking instruments.
Yeah, it was like
percussion.
You got school band, people can walk in and be like, oh, you're assigned to that. I remember this one kid walked in there, just ripped on a drum set, so we were like, yeah, he's got that. Like, he's taking that. I took the triangle. But eventually they let us, like, it was a big enough class that we were doing stuff in school orchestrated, basically, so there were sections of percussion, sections of strings, sections of whatever. I was a snare drummer. I did my little thing, you know what I mean? I had cymbals every now and then. It was cool.
But never any like marching band or drum line?
Nah, never that. That would have been cool, but that just wasn't my route, I guess.
And that still was in, I would assume, elementary school, maybe even into middle school?
Yeah, a little bit in the middle school. Okay. I think I'd played it into like 8th grade, and then 8th grade might have been the last time that I played in school.
Any other like things that you're having to like perform or stuff like that? Because like knowing now, like you're an MC, but it's like, was there any experiences growing up where you were like in
pushed
front
onto
of
the
people?
stage?
Yeah. And I was kind of trying to be an actor for a while. As a very young kid in like 2nd and 3rd grade, I was in productions, and
oh wow,
I was in reenactments of like history, like ancient China plays or stuff like that. It wasn't anything. I mean, it's kids stuff, right. You know what I mean? Public school functions that your kids got to get involved in, but it was fun. And
you weren't afraid of being in front of everybody, even at that young age.
So that would probably be more so a question for my mom, but like, I don't remember being like intimidated too much.
More excited by it. Scary.
Plus, the first time I got on stage was that ancient China reenactment. I was an emperor, and my job was to just sit on the throne while everybody like went to war. And then I had to step up and I got stabbed. And then that was it. Like, that was my job. I didn't have a line. I was just like, oh.
And you caught the acting bug.
And after that, I was like, yo, I can do this.
I can do it, yeah.
Plus, I watched a lot of, like, wrestling. I watched a lot of WWE. And I think a few years back, I started to credit that as where I got my, like, performing.
Theatrical.
Totally. Yeah. That's where I was like, this is where I can. Yeah. I wanted to be Stone Cold so bad.
So, right. Like, so cool. Acting so cool.
Yeah, so into middle school or even high school, were you, other than maybe a band concert, were you in front of people?
No,
Did you do drama or plays in high school?
I participated in school just as like a regular student, and then every now and then I was involved in like after school activities. I started playing sports more so than anything.
Okay, what were you playing?
So at first I played soccer.
Hey.
Then I loved skateboarding outside of school, so I was doing that for a little bit. And then I got into football, played football for a few years. I got to high school, saw kids like 220 pounds. Mm-hmm. And was like, I'm not doing that.
Right.
And I started playing basketball. And then since then I've that's all I ever want to play. If I play something, is I want to get on a court and I want to shoot hoops. That's really it.
Do you get to play regularly out in Cali?
I've started to. It gets pretty hardcore though. I don't know if y'all like have gone into maybe like a Lifetime court or something like that, but they take it very seriously.
Oh yeah.
And in California, even public courts are that way.
Oh my god.
Yeah, even the concrete, they're like going at it, and it's cool. Like, that's cool. They'll put money up and whatever, but I'm just trying to shoot around. Right. I'm not getting paid for this, and I'm not putting my money up because I'm an artist, right? I need to every coin I can make right now.
Exactly. Oh my god.
But I did get myself a membership to a gym in downtown LA, and it's cool. It's like college kids there who just want to shoot after school or
nice. That seems more mellow.
Whatever, yeah. Or people are taking their kids there who are like in middle school, elementary school, just shoot around a little bit. So it's not as intimidating. And I'm a little bit of a grown man too. So if other people do start getting to the point where they're like, we want to run fives, all right, let's run it then. And then I'm out. After that, I'm gonna go home. Like, that's it.
Well, where along this sports journey did you start to write rhymes or even poetry?
I've been doing that. It wasn't really a journey. It's just another separate interest, I guess. Yeah. I just like to stay active. But I've been freestyling, and I've been writing since I was probably like 12 or 13. What? Yeah. And in the same school that I was playing drums at, I started playing guitar. I had a social studies teacher named Mr. Baldwin, shout out Mr. Baldwin, who taught me guitar, taught me how to play the Hulk Hogan theme song, and he taught me how to play Beat It.
Hey.
And after that, I was like, I got it, I'm good, and I stopped playing guitar for whatever reason. But they had a garage band class there, so I started making beats on GarageBand at like 12 years old, something like that. And like since then, I started writing. I started like really focusing on like methods that rappers I looked up to used to rhyme. Like, that's when I started looking at Method Man and Eminem and Biggie, and just like tried to like dissect the way that they wrote and the words that they used and how they got them to match. Kind of like how Genius does it now, where they'll highlight
each rhyme part.
You know what I mean?
Like
kind of like that. I would just realize, oh, this O inflicts this way, so like he makes it rhyme with an A on this next bar. You know what I mean? And
that's doing your homework.
Literally doing your homework. So like taking that GarageBand class, making those beats, got me to writing, got me to focus on like how others wrote, and I've been doing that ever since. And I wasn't great at it, but I was learning, you know.
Right.
But so 12 years old, did you have a producer name or an MC name at that point?
Oh no, I don't think I did. I think I was just making the music and like trying to be a. Yeah, I don't think I picked a name until high school.
Were you sharing this early music with anyone other than like your teachers?
I shared those beats.
Okay,
in that class, I had like 5 beats that I was, 4 beats that I was proud of, but 5 beats that I was willing to share. And yeah, I remember presenting it to the whole class, and I don't remember the reactions, but they must not have been like too overwhelming, or you know, like, they must not have been like, "Yo,
didn't immediately start a career as a producer."
But I do know that it just made me feel good to like make it, share it, and regardless of the reaction, I know I like sat back down at my computer and was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna keep doing this." You know?
Nice.
So that was it. Like, I don't think I had a name, or I do remember I burned it. I put it on a CD, and I was like sharing it around my neighborhood for a while. So like just wrote my name on it and just gave it to people.
Now, do you still have the CD, or did you upload it to your hard drive? Or
no, it was on a laptop that I had to pawn, and I couldn't get out of pawn. So like that was right around when I started college. Actually, I had that thing up until college, and then that laptop had to make me some money.
Yeah,
I couldn't get it out, and I lost all of it. Everything that I did.
Oh my gosh.
From 12, I was probably around 20 years old at that time, so 8 years of stuff was on that.
Well, leading up to that disaster, when did you start thinking about doing it more seriously enough to make a name in high school? Choose a name, right?
My name actually comes from my brother and I. We kind of share the name in a weird way. So we had a handshake that ends with a salute and a peace.
Okay.
And I've always just been a little bit less for the conflict. So peace was where I went, and he's salute. Shout out salute. I love you, brother. But I was still writing rhymes and like rapping with him. So we were saluting peace. And sorry, what was the question? I don't even remember the question.
Just you said your laptop kind of you lost all this work. I just want to go over that 8 years.
Yeah. Okay, so within that 8 years, so I was making those beats. Yeah. My stepdad's mom at the time, she had actually known my influence and interest in music. She bought me a little USB like mixer, like DJ mixer.
Whoa.
So I was mixing songs. I was mixing like full DJ sets on this laptop from probably like 13 to 15. I started learning FL Studio and started producing on FL at like 16.
Whoa.
And how it got serious for me was at that time, you're like a sophomore, junior in high school. You're thinking about after high school. They're like, what do you want to do? What college do you want to go to? How do you want to get a job? You know? Right. And the only thing I cared about was like film and music. And I was like, all right, I'm going to pursue that, I guess. So that's when I started taking it seriously. And that's when I adopted the name for a stage name, Peace. And was like, okay, I'm going to go to college to learn more about music, and not just like I learned those instruments, but I still didn't and still don't feel instrumentally inclined. Like there's still something that just I got to get over. Maybe it's my own confidence I need to figure out. But I knew technicalities and I knew how to learn and read a book.
Yeah.
So like I was like, I can go to college, I can get my hands in a studio and on a board, and I can figure out how to do engineering. So I went to school for audio engineering.
Wow.
So that gap between like junior year of high school and my first semester in college was when I started being like, I'm taking this as serious as I can. This is my future. This is what I want to do.
And was that met with continued support from your family, or was it kind of eye roll?
Yeah, no, my family has always supported any decision that I make, because
that's awesome.
We show love always. We're concerned just because, we want everybody to be okay. So like going to college for music doesn't seem like the most lucrative decision to make. But nobody outright said, this is a bad idea. Like, don't do that. More so than anything, they were like, do what you want. We're here for you. And regardless of how things play out, like, we know you're smart. We know you can figure things out. You know, we're here when you need us type thing.
That's awesome.
So, yeah. So I won't say I had total support, but, like, that's also because my family is only capable of supporting so much. You know what I mean? Out of anybody, my mom and my dad have always been, like, right there being like, dude, you got it. We're not sweating it.
That's awesome.
That's huge.
So yeah, and that was I've been doing my own thing for quite some time anyway. Like by that time in college, at 14, I was already like out of the house pretty often, just living life, being with friends and doing things. And I've always been pretty mature for my age, so my mom never like doubted that I was making bad decisions or going down ill path.
Yeah.
You know? And then by the time I was like 16, 17, I had gotten my own job, and I always was taking the bus, never was driving, never could drive. So like I was already in the city for majority of the day anyway. So that's kind of where the loss of the laptop came, because I was running between so many different things, only able to work so much. I had my focus in so many different directions that like I needed some money, and I know I'm going to school for music, so I know I'm going to be around it. I might as well get a couple of bucks off this laptop so I can afford other things to eat. That's I started learning the risks of taking this route right around that same time too. So, things got real serious, and I was never afraid to keep going. You know, I don't know.
We're getting real serious with Peace the Keeper here on DogStar. We got to take a break in a little less than a minute.
You can follow his Instagram at Peace the Keeper. And then it's Peace the Keeper with the spaces between the words if you're looking for the music.
Yeah.
Well, when we come back, we're going to be working our way through the early discography and kind of picking up those early lessons that you learned through going through that journey.
For sure. Yeah.
This will be sweet. You can follow us at DogStar Podcast on Instagram. Search for the show, DogStar Podcast. And check out some of Peace the Keeper's music videos during the break.
There are a lot of them are on YouTube. Excuse me. We'll be right back with more Peace the Keeper on DogStar.
Bow wow.
Bow wow.
Bow wow.
Bow wow.
Welcome back to DogStar.
We've got Peace the Keeper here with us today, and we're strolling through the timeline.
Yeah.
Got to hear about your early exposure to beat making.
Yeah.
And so you've been, making beats and writing to those beats since 12.
Yeah.
And we heard that you're, end up going to college for music. When did you start releasing songs?
Was this after the laptop fiasco?
This is after the laptop. I never released anything from that. And then I got to college, and I want to say 4 months after. No, I think I dropped my first song in like November, and I started college in June. So my first song came out, Due Time. Oh man, Due Time came out in November of 2014. And that was the first thing that I'd put my name on. It was Peace the Keeper at that point, because Peace I felt was way too broad to Google search. So I was like, I gotta get a little bit more detailed about it.
Right.
So Peace the Keeper was the name, and Due Time was the first song, and that was the first thing I'd ever, as an artist, I'd ever dropped.
And YouTube, SoundCloud.
That was SoundCloud. I was just introduced to SoundCloud. Didn't know anything about it. But a homie of mine that I was working with very closely on making beats and stuff in college, Bobby Dillon, was like, yo, you got to get on SoundCloud. Like, that's the best way to release anything as like an independent musician. Anything that you want to, it's out. You don't really got to overthink it. Like there's so much garbage out there that like it really doesn't matter. Just drop it. And I was still like, it's got to be the best. I can't like just drop garbage. But I dropped Due Time and it was garbage. I do still love that track quite a bit.
And remind me if fans can find that. Is that still on the SoundCloud?
I might still have it on SoundCloud. Okay. If I don't, I know I do, but it's private.
Okay.
And I'm
maybe it'll be
like,
on the 20-year anniversary.
I don't know why I'm hiding it if I am.
Right.
I'll pull out my phone as soon as we're done with this, and if it's private, I'll public, dude. You can
at least share.
You heard it here. If he doesn't, head up, make sure he does.
If I don't, find me on the street. And
I was gonna say, if anyone has some of these early burned CDs from middle school, contact him. Maybe
please actually
ship
do.
Them to him.
Yeah, please do. I do want to hear. I can think of one beat for sure that I know I made out of the first 5 that I know is so bad, but I can hear it in the back of my head, like it's playing right now.
Never tried to remake them or remake any of those early songs?
I could try to remake that one. It would still be just as bad though.
Yeah.
Because it's
right.
I think I remember in the mic, you have the little like snowball mic.
Yeah.
I remember just saying 612 over and over and over again, and just using that as like a
rhythm
like a
beat.
thing to loop, kind of on some Dilla.
I was gonna say, kind of ahead of your time.
I was just like trying to play it, but I didn't know how to do that, so I just kept saying it. And it's bad. But I loved it.
So how were you balancing releasing your own music with going to school, or was it just as you learn this new skill, apply it to your?
No, that school, I give a lot of credit to the freedom we had at that school, because once you started showcasing just how serious you were about making music and applying your learnings and teachings into the actual profession of it, they allowed us to. We have studio access, and even in that school, in the basement of it, there were things called labs that were just like a mixing board, a digital mixing board, computer, interfaces. You can hook up mics, and it was like a little closet.
Whoa.
But there were like, I want to say 6 or 8 of them. Cool. You can check them out and go in there, and it was 24-hour access.
Wow.
So you could just go in there and work on schoolwork, and then it simultaneously is your work. So anytime that you were recording with somebody or doing something, just because they were like, you need to know how to mix a guitar, put it on your song and show them your song, and that was it. So it was pretty easy to balance both of them. But I was also, like I said before, I was out and I was making myself so responsible for so much outside of school that I had 2 jobs. I was staying at like 2 or 3 people's places. I think I was crashing on that school couches even at times too, because I was like just running myself into the ground trying to do it all, trying to figure it out.
Yeah, where does that work ethic come from?
My mom, my dad. Yeah, and my mom, single mom, 2 kids. She did a lot for us. Yeah. She still does a lot for us. And my dad, I think it's just in his blood. I think it's just who he is, and I'll credit a lot of my work ethic to just seeing it and knowing it within me, I guess. I still do it to this day. I sleep like 4 hours a day and get up and do what I gotta do.
But just saw the example, and then because it's your parents, it's that's for sure. I could do that just like they're doing it.
Yeah, and I want to repay. You know what I mean? I want to I know I don't have to. They don't ask me for anything, but I'm an adult now, and I can if I have the ability to, I'm going to help you out.
Right. Yeah, that's huge.
You my mama, man. I gotta help you out. So.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about the formation of the first project?
The first project.
I'm probably in a severe depression.
Yeah. Oh, man. That was such a fun one, too. At the time, I was still doing, like, YouTube beats. I was still getting, like, MP3s and waves off of the internet. And I was not liking that so much because I enjoyed having stems and full instrumentation, the control to mix and do what you can do with your voice on top of it and within it, whatever. But didn't have a lot of access to producers. I had my homies, and I didn't want to keep asking them for beats to keep working with me and whatever.
Right.
So I know that I was like downloading these beats and getting other beats from friends. And I think at that time, too, I had just stopped going to school. So I was at home making music. I didn't have studio access anymore. I didn't have any of that. I could have hit some people up, asked some favors, whatever, but like I'm a bit prideful at the time. So I'm like, I can do it. I'll figure it out, whatever. And I'll see my homies and we'll do it when we're all together. But for now, I'm at the crib, at my desk, in my closet, making my music, writing my rhymes, getting my features over email, and like pushing it that way. So, and I was still, doing all the work I needed to do on the side to be an adult. And I just got an apartment with my then girlfriend. So I was like, very much, I got a household I got to take care of now. I got a roof I got to keep over our head. Music was not so much the focus anymore. It was more money, and I got to be an adult and live life.
Was this still in Minnesota?
This was still in Minnesota.
Okay.
I moved out to Eden Prairie.
Okay.
And I was working in St. Paul, and I had just left school in Minneapolis, so I was taking a bus to a train to a bus to work to walk to the bus to the train back home. And
that's a long commute.
It's so fun. It's so fun because like I just got to ponder about life, and listen to music, and write some rhymes, and
built-in time.
Yeah, and then as I'm stressing, doing what I got to do at work or throughout the day, I'm on my way home writing. I get home, I record, I mix, I go to sleep, I wake up, I do it again.
Wow. Yeah, that's an awesome routine to get into. Especially, it doesn't sound like you have much time to do it any other way.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the day was booked up.
Yeah. And I made it that way. You know what I mean? Like I made sure there was never a downtime. And I would still, relax and kick it at the crib and, watch TV or something. But for the most part, if it were totally up to me, I would be on my computer making music because that's all I ever wanted to do. So that's how those projects came about. So I didn't have access to what I wanted to, but I used the resources I did have to.
Totally.
And I wanted a project. I was doing work with a group at the time too, so I was like, this is my first solo thing for sure. Like, I gotta do it right.
Is that the Peace and Salute, or what group are you talking about?
No. So this was in college. This is my now roommate / brother / producer, Mosh.
Oh, hell yeah!
Mosh is my guy. Lawrence Mulrooney and a homie Bobby Dillon. We were in a group called Sorv. Smoke One Rap Vibe, sporty off-road vehicle.
Okay, this that acronym has come up in some of my research.
Yeah. So that's where. So I'm probably in a severe depression. I got Lawrence Mulrooney features. I got Mosh production. I got Salute features. Salute and I are just a dynamic duo outside of music. Like, that's just my brother. That's my right hand. So we were inevitably going to continue to like work together and whatever. Yeah. But the group was formed in college. We did shows and spent so much time making music together. So I was doing all of that. That was like, we had a couple of projects, a couple of mixtapes that we had dropped.
Cool. And
then at the time we were also working on kind of the very early stages of a full album. But like I said, I was no longer going to school. I am still my own artist.
Might have had a little more time than them.
Yeah. And Mosh was like, again, he's a crazy worker. So like outside of us in our group, he had artists that were working with him, hitting him up, and he's got to produce for them and do shows with them and whatever. And he's a genius. So like outside of making beats, they're like, yo, we need your help on like actual sound stuff on the performances. We need you as a hype man. We want to get your okay on how this sounds in this space, whatever. So like, he's applying himself over there. I'm not gonna take him away from that to work on my stuff. Like, absolutely not. You got it. I'm gonna do me, you do you. We come together and form like Voltron at the end of the day. Yeah. So yeah, I didn't have school or the access to that anymore, and I didn't want to lose the momentum that I had built with them, with Sorv, and I didn't want to lose the momentum that I had kind of started myself on anyway.
Totally. So, I mean, a momentum that hasn't stopped. Soon after December of 2019 saw the release of Smile Please.
Yeah, Smile Please came pretty quickly after that.
And how did the process from the first project to Smile Please evolve with maybe finding beats or writing?
Yeah, I'm probably in a severe depression. While working on it, I told myself this was the last time I'm using YouTube beats. I'm not gonna use a beat that I don't own or have the rights to own,
or the creative,
exactly, the ability to get into it. And I'm not hitting these producers up directly. Like I'm buying it off of their websites, or I'm something like that. And like I really do enjoy knowing you, getting to know you, getting to work together. Yeah, that's why it's so hard for me to email with people over features or something too. Because like even if I know you personally, there's a energy that we carry together that like you can feel on a record. To me, you can feel on a record when you make it together. Not to discredit any over email verses, because we got some fire, but also like it's not my favorite method. So I'm probably in a severe depression. I was like, it was a mixtape, and that's how I looked at it. This is going on SoundCloud. I'm not gonna pay for promotion for it. I love these songs, and I'm gonna keep doing what I gotta do as an artist to like uphold their value, because they're valuable to me. Yeah. At the same time, I'm making beats that I'm more so fond of, more proud of, and they are mine, and I can apply a little bit more attention to in the post-production. So those were going on Smile Please. And that phase of my life was very much like me finding ways to express what I'm feeling without being so... I didn't want to be so... about me about it. I wanted you to know what I'm feeling, but I wanted you to resonate and connect with it and find yourself in that. Yeah. And I'm probably in a severe depression was my cry for help of like being like, I'm hurting, but like listen to how great this music is. And Smile Please was kind of the aftermath of that, where everything was me. I'm pretty sure on Smile Please I produced everything. If it wasn't me, it was Mosh.
Sick.
Wow. I mixed everything. Mosh probably mastered all of it.
Bomb.
And that was the transition between like, this feels amateur. I'm no longer amateur. Even if the quality isn't comparable to what you hear on the radio, it's authentic and it's real. And it's me. So yeah, Smile Please was that.
And again, still with that momentum. 5 months later, boom, Wasabi.
Yeah.
Like, nonstop.
Yeah,
so
Wasabi
did
crazy.
You just like hit the ground running as soon as Smile Please dropped?
Smile Please dropped in February. I want to say it was on the 22nd or something like that.
Okay.
The week after that, I went to Los Angeles. Mosh had moved there that October.
Cool.
So I went to Los Angeles the week after, maybe even the day of Smile Please's release. I stayed at his crib for 3 days and we made Wasabi.
What?
Oh my gosh.
We went to the record store, bought some Perry Como, bought some other like, I want to say it was a Japanese film soundtrack or something. Just started sampling. He had a record player. We had the ability to like really start like playing with physical media in our music and not just digitally applying it. Yeah. And we were up all night, up all day, making beats, watching Robert Johnson documentaries and like just keeping the energy going. And it was like a little small, no bigger than maybe half of this space. And then there was a side bathroom of his apartment in Chinatown in Los Angeles. And sleeping on the floor, waking up, making beats, writing rhymes, recording it in the corner, and like finished essentially all of it. I'm pretty sure we made everything that weekend. Took a week to mix it. He kept all the stems, mixed all of it. We were communicating back and forth, and Wasabi was ready to go.
Whoa.
That was it.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, it was fun.
That's super so fun. Impressive.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, thank you.
Who did the album art for Wasabi?
I did the album art. I did all my album art.
Whoa.
I do all my cover arts, yeah.
Yeah, you hinted and kind of were talking about that you like to do video stuff as well and photography. We only got a minute left, but where'd you get introduced to doing like the photography and the video?
I mentioned this a little earlier. I kept a camera on me as a kid, like just a little camcorder. I would do that. But I've always had the interest and the thrill in finding little details of like the room that I'm in. So I like setting the camera up and getting those angles. And I'd like to make it look pretty when it's done. So I'll put it on a computer, I'll edit it in my phone or whatever, and sometimes I'm like, yeah, that's a camera. That's a cover art. That's it.
That's how
it goes.
Got the eye.
Yeah. And Wasabi has a little documentary video. I can probably send you guys too.
Yeah,
it's on Instagram.
Sick.
That weekend.
Sorry, we're sitting down with Peace the Keeper. Sorry to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
Here on DogStar.
Follow him at Peace the Keeper. Follow us at DogStar Podcast. We'll be right back talking about more of the discography.
Bow wow.
Wow, wow.
Welcome back to DogStar.
We're learning about the musical path in Peace the Keeper's life. Thanks so much for sitting down with us and sharing your story. Truly fascinating hearing about how exactly it came about, because it sounds like there's some twists, some turns.
Yeah.
Was there any point in your career where you thought you were going to stop?
I was going to stop?
Making music?
No, I was never going to stop.
Never a doubt.
Never a doubt. There have been like arguments and relationships that I've had that have been like, you can't stop this music stuff. And I'm like, I'm not going to though. Like, it gets in the way of whatever. No, it don't. This is my life. This is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Never once was it a question whether or not I was going to keep going.
And you were talking about that moment where you played the beats and like that felt good. Was there any other moments like that have like built up to this like unshakable?
Yeah, on stage for sure. I was my first performance was with Sorv at the Red Sea.
Cool.
And nobody was there, and I loved it. And I was like, this is what I want to keep doing. And like, I'm pretty sure all of our friends came, so it was maybe like 5 to 8 people came to watch us.
That's sick.
And I loved it. So that was another moment where I'm like, yeah, this is what I want to do. This is what I enjoy the most out of.
That's sweet. And hearing yourself over the speakers. And
Yeah. Having feedback to give, like being able to be like, that monitor doesn't really sound very good in this direction. Maybe if we had it coming from behind, you know what I mean? Like,
a bunch of kids from music college, though. The sound guy must have just been like, oh.
Yeah. I think we were also very eager to apply ourselves in the real world. So I do remember a friend of mine being there and being like, maybe I should work here. Maybe I should like see if I can work with this guy, because.
Did he?
No, he didn't.
Oh.
No, he didn't.
But that passion, that eagerness to...
The eagerness and the undoubtable confidence that we all had to be able to be like, no, we know what we're doing. Even if we don't know what we're doing, we know what we're doing. And we're willing to learn still. We're all willing to learn. So.
Speaking of undoubtable confidence, how did you meet Dungeon the Baptist?
We were doing this Shut Up and Rap, if you guys remember the Shut Up and Rap.
Yes.
I had actually met a handful of people there. I think the first time that I went there, I saw Nerdy, and I'm pretty sure he won. If he didn't win, he was second place. But I started going to those because why not? Like, we're trying to get real hip-hop out, right? And we want to do it in a way that, like, is not so... passive. We want you to get feedback, and we want you to know if you're not good, and we want you to know what you need to work on, and we would hope that you take that as constructive criticism and find the fire in yourself to like work on that. So I went the first time, met a few people, and then I knew I was coming back.
Yes.
I lost. I actually was really bad. I think I performed a song, if I'm remembering correctly, I performed a song, Boss Lady, and it just didn't go that well.
One of the few tracks that kind of survived from My Minute Severe Depression.
Yeah. It's a good one. It's still a good one. It's just I just wasn't ready to perform that live at the time. But I know I lost, and then I went back because I was going to perform some other stuff, and that's when I met Dungeon. And Dungeon was there with his girl, and when you know you're going on that, they would put out a list of who's performing. On Twitter, it was like, all right, this week we're going to see so-and-so, so-and-so, and so-and-so show up for Shut Up and Rap.
Yeah.
I would go through and listen to everybody's stuff. I want to know who I'm going against. I want to know what song I'm going to play. I want to know whether or not I am capable of, like, coexisting with these people, because in a collaborative world, that's the only really real way to build community and build a maybe not necessarily a long-lasting relationship, but a relationship that has a strength to it in some capacity. Even if I make one song nobody hears, I want to work with these people because I admire what they do. Some of them I don't want to work with. So Dungeon was definitely one when we got that list where I was like, that dude is raw. That dude is cold, and he's got this aesthetic, this appeal, this sound to him that is so familiar because of his schooling of it, and his, like, he's a student of the game the same. He's probably way more of a hip-hop connoisseur than I would say I am, even, because he adopts so many different traits and can soak up so many different things from the same song that we both listened to.
Wow.
So I just heard him. I knew he was cold. I saw him when I got there and was like, yo, you're fire. Yeah. You're dope. And he was like, oh, thanks, man. He was just like very, like, kind of shy, kind of acquainted about it. We both went up there. We both rocked the mic. I'm pretty sure he killed it much better than I. I'm pretty sure he had a Naruto headband on even. So he was channeling a whole different strength at the time.
And what, that night y'all decided to make a killer project?
No, that night. So the project came years later, I would say. I think I met him in 2018.
Okay, wow. So like 3-4 years later.
Something like that. Yeah, I could even be a year off. But I know at that point what had happened was Mosh has access to a space where he would go and mix some music and like work on some projects. We actually shot a Boss Lady video at that studio space he has access to.
Sick.
So I knew Dungeon was somebody I wanted to work with. Him and I got each other's contact. We started following each other, and pretty quickly we started making jokes with each other, like on Twitter and stuff, and just knew we had a chemistry of some kind. So offered to come pick him up at his mom's spot. We drove to Mosh's studio. He got to meet Mosh that day.
Wow.
We recorded The Who that day. And pretty soon after that, I think I did a verse for him on another track, maybe even just a hook on another track. But Strays came about because we knew I was, at least for me, I knew I was moving. I knew I was going, and I knew I wanted Low End and Dungeon and I to have just something. Like, there's no way that at that point, we had made so many tracks together that just never saw an end, never will see the light of day, probably. And Strays was one where we were like, all right, well, he's got some beats in mind. I've got some beats in mind. Let's just throw them together. Let's write rhymes. Let's record it. Let's get it out. And that came pretty soon after Smile, Please, and Wasabi.
Nice.
I think we recorded everything within the span of 2 months.
Wow.
2 or 3 months.
Yeah,
or
dropped
like
in January 2021.
And dropped in January, yeah.
Wow.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
then, I mean, we only got about 5-6 minutes left. We're going to fly through the discography.
please.
So about a year later, the unfinished EP.
The unfinished EP.
So was that like leftover tracks or?
No, unfinished was tracks that were unfinished.
Okay.
Everything on that album, maybe not everything, but everything on that project, just I did not put as much time as I thought was required for them to be at the time where I would like them to be. But I was upset with holding on to them. So I was like, let's get them out. Let's put them out. I just want them out. I just want to share them. I don't care if the mixing on it is a little too quiet for anybody. Like, that seems to be my largest problem with some of the stuff that I put out. So, but this time I was like, this is the last stuff that I've done in Minnesota, and I want to put something else out by the time I get to Los Angeles. I want to have something I can share with new people that is a better representation of where I'm at, other than the collabs that I've done and the stuff that I did years ago. I want something fresh. So that's what that was. All those songs are maybe like 80% done at best.
Okay. Because there are some tracks that are like a minute 45.
Yeah.
It's like, this, you could repeat this 3 or 4 more times.
And that's another thing too, is that I was okay with the thought of them being so left bare that you have to play them again. Go back and listen again, because you're missing some stuff anyway. You might as well get as much out of it as you can, you know?
Yeah, whatever it is in your internal timing, that's like, you need to drop all the songs you've been working on. Like, has been serving you very well. Like, the projects come together, and it's probably just because they're all made within that period of time, but it's like they really feel like projects.
Yeah, thank you.
What advice would you give to somebody who's sitting on a bunch of tracks?
Put them out. Put them out, dude. Put them out, because like, you're in that space for that time, and it's not to say that these feelings don't come back, these emotions don't come back, scenarios don't repeat themselves or something. Those are all very possible, but what you make in that moment is really a captured, like, just piece of your essence at the time. Like, we're really just channeling when an idea wants to come through and catch you, really. So if you got something and you're sitting on it, drop it. It's not that serious. That took a lot for me to get out of my own head too, because I was like, it's got to be perfect, it's got to be right. I listen to music all the time that I don't like, and somebody else does. That happens everywhere. I'm not for everybody, and not everybody is for me, and that's okay. And that's the same for everybody. So just put your stuff out. If you're happy with it, put it out. Yeah.
2022 and 2023 saw the release of 3 2-packs, you were calling them before the show, leading up to North Hollywood EP.
Yeah.
And just for time purposes, let's jump talking about the North Hollywood EP. So I assume this is, you've absorbed up time living out west.
Yeah. The North Hollywood EP, I am describing as like a representation of my move from over here, from Minnesota to Hollywood. And it just so happens I live in North Hollywood. So I start the album with Loons and like a nightlife in Minnesota with like a memory that I have of making beats at home in the dark, in front of my window, in front of the moon.
Does liking albums kind of, a lot of your projects start with like a non-verbal track to kind of set the mood. Where did you pick that? What artists?
I want you to hear everything.
Yeah.
That's really all it is. Because you're going to get singles. I mean, the way that the business kind of has wanted itself to work forever is that you drop singles, you get people interested, and then they check the project when it's out.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that method, but I like to do things my own way. So I'll drop a 2-pack with half of the song being an instrumental. You're not going to get me on there until 2 minutes in, 3 minutes in.
That's so
and
sick.
My projects got to feel the same, because I sit with the beats that I make, I sit on them for a long time, which means I'm listening to them without myself on them for a long time. Yeah. And that sounds good to me. Sometimes I don't want to talk. Right. Sometimes I just want you to feel what I'm feeling, and that comes from a synthesizer or something.
Huge. Your representative sent over the 3rd and 4th tracks off of that project, House and Northside Skinny. We've got about 1 minute left. What can you tell listeners about those 2 tracks in particular?
House is fully produced by Mosh. and fully mixed by Mosh.
Oh, yes.
It's got vocals on there from Radio Ali and a guitarist of mine, a close friend of mine. His name is Chris Harper. Such an incredible track. That was lightning in a bottle. That was made in a day and worked on for 2 years.
Whoa!
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, and the video that I shot for it was shot 2 years ago as well, on a tripod on my truck down the street.
Yeah, very, very Toro y Moi. That video in particular.
Yeah, thank you for that comparison earlier too, because House was just me trying to show my muscle a little bit, and Northside Skinny is just me showing my heart about, I love where I come from, man, and this is I'm the culmination of what this state and this city and these people gave me, and Northside Skinny is me giving it a hug a little bit.
Well, thank you. Don't stop what you're doing. This has been Peace the Keeper on DogStar.
I've been established. I've been getting used to the new name. Cooking with gas and they sipping the soup. I shoot my shot, it go. I just put a hole in the roof. I'ma get old enough to see the fruits of my labor. The manager, artist, and label is me. The paper and ink on the paper is me. The reason I'm looking so clean is clean. Watch me do my dance to the top, to the top. I'ma pick the world up, and then I'm finna drop. This the house of a god. This the house of a god. Watch me throw my hands to the top, to the top. I'ma pick the world up, and then I'm finna drop. This the house of a god. This the house of a god. I need the green involved in conversations. I need canines, iced out, dog, I made it. I show love to all my neighbors. I moved in, now the block is always earthquaking. Watch me do my dance to the top, to the top. I'ma pick the world up, and then I'm finna drop. This the house of a god. This the house of a god. Watch me throw my hands to the top, to the top. I'ma pick the world up, and then I'm finna drop. This the house of a god. This the house of a god. This that in tune, Stanley out here shooting for the moon. Turn the page, cubics in a room. Learn to maintain the product is really something. The pressure it made change. Came and saved the day. Never play about it. Be about the word. What you say about it? 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 It's that in tune, Stanley out here shooting for the moon. Turn the page. Starstruck with Star Weekend. Don't piece of freak thinking X-Men. Only one wall between most things. Lost reaches, suddenly thoughts, not speeches. Odd thing to feel was all gone. Profess, could have been too eager.
I never try anything. I just do it.